Blog Talk Radio.
You are listening to Nat Turner Library Radio, featuring authors Michael Muhammad and Khalifa Muhammad. Nat Turner Library Radio.
You are listening to the Nat Turner Library Radio Network. If you are offended by black people discussing our suffering, black people discussing our struggle, and black people talking about solutions to our problems, then this show is not for you. You have been warned. Nat Turner Library Radio.
Brothers and sisters, Nat Turner Library Radio Show today. This is your host, Brother Michael Muhammad, from the Nat Turner Library Radio Show, author, producer, but first and foremost, I'd like to be known as your brother. Today's show on May 21st, 2020, is the Ministry of Love Mission in Mexico. That's the Ministry of Love Mission in Mexico. This is part 3 of our series with the interviews with Brother Stanley Muhammad, Sister Ruth Muhammad, and the heroic endeavors that they experienced in Mexico in 2019. This great ministry of love, as a direct assignment from our teacher and guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, to Brother Stanley, and ultimately to us all. You are listening to the Nat Turner Library Radio Show, May 21st, 2020. First and foremost, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I do bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared to us in the person of a well-made man who came 9,000 miles from the holy city of Mecca by himself to teach us what had been lost for over 66 trillion years, and that is the knowledge of the God, and that is the knowledge of our enemy. And he found the first begotten of the dead, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is now arisen to become the exalted Christ sitting on the throne. And we thank them both for leaving us a divine warner, our teacher and our guide in this dark world, a light to the whole world, a final warning to the whole world, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's in their holy names that I greet the listening audience of the Nat Turner Library Radio Show in the words of peace and paradise. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum, simply means may peace be unto you. Our brothers and sisters who are listening from my Hebrew Israelite family, Shalom Aleichem. Shout out to Brother Mikael over there at Soul Vegetarian. Brothers and sisters are doing it well during this COVID-19. Habarigani to our Pan-Africanist family. Hotep to the Kemetic Science brothers and sisters listening in tonight. To my Nawapian Sabian family, Anunnaki language, Rahubats, Brother Amun Gibbs, and Sister Mayat Rae, K. Atum Rae, and Attorney Patricia Bassard. Rahubats to you. To Brother Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, Chairman Hashim Akhenaten and Zinga, Sister Spokesperson Ya Asentawa up in Harlem, Black Power to you. Nat Turner Gun Club and the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, wherever city you may be, Black Power fist to you. To my Christian family, wherever you may be, whatever denomination, we say praise the Lord. And to our 5% family and nation of gods and earth, peace to the gods. Everyone else that's listening in, thank you for calling in, and thank you for listening in. The switchboards are lit up. We want to say welcome and good evening. The Nat Turner Library Radio Show, for those who are first-time listeners, is a show that was the brainchild of the founder of the Nat Turner Library, Elder Baba Khalif Khalifa, friend of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, friend of those who wish to see our people liberated, at one of the largest black books publishers since the 70s here on the East Coast, a man who's responsible for the continuation of the publications of How to Eat to Live, Books 1 and 2, Message to the Black Man, Our Savior Has Arrived, and Fall of America, when Warif Muhammad took the Nation of Islam into a different direction in the 70s. Elder Khalif Khalifa, under the title of United Brothers, United Sisters, Books and Things, decided to continue this. And when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stood back up, he was one of the brothers, that is Elder Khalif Khalifa, that supplied some of the earlier versions of How to Eat to Live, Message to the Black Man, Our Savior Has Arrived, Fall of America, the great books of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we thank him for that. He and his dearly departed wife, Sister Rita Fard Khalifa, had the great vision of compiling the largest black book repository in the homeland of Nat Turner, that great black revolutionary who decided after reading scripture that the God of creation didn't want us to be subservient to an enemy who was outright killing us, but he wanted us to be free, as did he want the children of Israel. So in that spirit, Nat Turner, one of the first black pastors and black reverends to learn the Christian faith, decided that that same God that wanted them free from England wanted us free from the oppressors here in America. So in that spirit, Elder Khalif Khalifa started the Nat Turner Library. Sister Rita Fard Khalifa, may Allah be pleased with us, no longer with us, but Elder Khalif Khalifa continues the spirit of the Nat Turner Library. And so some years ago, he asked his son, Khalifa Muhammad, my good friend, chairman of the Nat Turner Library, and myself, to continue the legacy of the Nat Turner Library. And here we stand in Season 4 of the Nat Turner Library radio show. As I said earlier, I'm your brother. I'm a host of the show, producer, but I'm also an author of a book called Checkmate, The War for the Black Mind, Part 1, The Black Woman, Part 2, which is a great book describing the struggle of the black man of North America from a historical, scientific, and a psychosocial perspective. You'll see this book, inshallah, in publication sometime early next year. You can buy this book and many other things to help support the Nat Turner Library radio show host and our sojourn by going to bromichaelmuhammad.com. That's BROMICHAELMUHAMMAD. We have a shop section. There are some T-shirts that many of you have seen at different events we've had. We have a lot of shirts for brothers and sisters, different sizes, going all the way up to 5XL. We have good quality cotton shirts, and we also have the copy from the ebook version of my book, Checkmate, The War for the Black Mind, as well as the hard copy, which we have a few left, and I'm willing to do the signature of those and send those out immediately. Thank you to the brothers and sisters last month who had bought, and we sold several of our e-copies as well as some of the hard copies sent around the country. We thank you for your support. Without your support, there wouldn't be a Nat Turner Library radio show. Also, for our guest tonight, I advise you, brothers and sisters, to continue to support Brother Stanley and Sister Ruth by using them, or using their services, at aysavp.com. That's aysavp.com. That's at your service, audio, video, and production.com. So aysavp. All of your video production needs. They've been in business for a while. They're excellent at what they do. Please support them. We also want you to follow us at the Nat Turner Library Radio Show on Facebook. Go to Nat Turner Library Radio. Just simply type that in as in your search engine on Facebook. Like the page, of course. And then follow us and get our notifications for different events. We have the Nat Turner Library Black Book Awards coming up in the next few weeks. Yes, the 30th annual Black Book Awards will be coming up. I thank Allah. 2 years ago, I was a recipient of an award, and I'm eternally thankful to the Nat Turner founder for supplying myself with an award for Best New Author in 2018. We have many recipients from around the country of awards, so stay tuned to the Nat Turner Library Facebook page and the Nat Turner Library website. Simply go to Nat Turner Library website at www.natturnerlibrary.com, and you'll see events coming up. You can also follow us on Instagram at Nat_Turner_Library_Radio. You can go to Twitter at NTLR-radio. On YouTube, you can find our podcast and supporting videos that we have done over the years at youtube.com/Nat Turner Library Radio, which is all one word, or just simply type in the search box in your YouTube app, Nat Turner Library Radio. Subscribe, please, so you can get updates. And also, for backup, we go to Vimeo at vimeo.com/NTLR, which is short for acronym for Nat Turner Library Radio. Again, please support the radio show by purchasing your e-copy of my book, The 20-Year Study into the Subjugation of the Black Mind from an Academic Perspective. This coming Sunday, we have Minister Ahmad Yakim from the Unification Church up there in Richmond, Virginia. He was our guest a couple seasons ago, author of the book, Condemnation of the Goddamn Nigger. Dr. Neil Jackson is what he's also known as. Brother is an excellent theologian, an excellent historian, a wonderful, spirited man. And Allah had us together a couple years ago at an event, and we've been good friends, he and I and his family, since. And I invited him on this coming Sunday at 7 p.m. to discuss the very controversial subject that we're going to delve into, but controversy only to those who are afraid of it. And it is, are black pastors responsible for the murder of our people during this time? And we're talking more so spiritual and psychological murder by not having wartime spiritual training. And this is where we ask people to have an open spirit when we discuss that next Sunday. That'll be this Sunday at 7 p.m. right here at the Nat Turner Library Radio Show. Brothers and sisters, if you know someone who would like to listen in tonight or on Sunday, we have also next Thursday, we'll be back again. My invitation to Brother Victor Muhammad, the former National Institute of Health scientist. He's going to have a subject that you'll see on the event page coming up next Thursday, dealing with vaccines and obedience to God. And his subject title will be, is obedience to God, is it necessary to have vaccines if you obey God? So he's going to prove to the world next Thursday from a scientific perspective that vaccines are not even necessary if you follow the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He'll come with scientific proof, not conjecture or anything else. That'll be next Thursday at 7 p.m. And the following Sunday, we're going to invite back Dr. Patricia Muhammad and Brother Eric Ahad Muhammad from the West Coast to talk about immunotherapy. So we'll be leaving the subject of separation, which this is part of, this week, and we'll be touching health again. So 94,000 people have died so far as listed in the United States of America, with 1.4 million people being diagnosed and confirmed as having COVID-19 here in the hell of North America. This is not going away anytime soon. So I invited back some scientists and health specialists to help tackle this on, because our people are still dying and getting sick. Brothers and sisters, you're listening to the Nat Turner Library Radio Show. Please get the latest copy, if you have not, brothers and sisters, of Rise Magazine. No, Minister Sharif didn't ask me to say this. Minister Sharif is a good man. He told me that this magazine is something that the next copy that's coming up in the next few months. This is the first copy. I have it right in my hands right here. It is one of the highest quality magazines I've ever seen. Great advertisements, great articles. It's a magazine dedicated for do for self, and great articles written by sisters and brothers here in the southern region and around the country. And so you get to learn a lot about black business from a Muslim and a conscious perspective. It's called Rise Magazine, 1999. Please go to risemagazineco.com. That's risemagazineco.com. If you just type in risemagazine.com, there's another company called Rise Magazine. You will not get the one that Southern Regional Student Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad is the editor or founder for. This is a beautiful magazine. I told him I was looking forward to the second one, but he says that he's a few months out. But brothers and sisters, please, you can get some advertising for it, okay, as well. If you want to advertise, it's on that site, risemagazineco.com. So if you got a business of any type, he told me there are thousands of people who will see your ad. You can get a front cover ad for $300, back cover ad for $275. And for something that's going to circulate for several months, that is a good price. 2 full-page ads, $250. Okay, quarter-page ad, $100, business card size for $60. If you got a business at all, and you're a black man and woman in North America, brothers and sisters, I'm advising you to go ahead and take advantage of that advertising at Rise Magazine. One more shout-out. We thank the national spokesperson for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Dr. Ava Muhammad, for her great discussion with us this past Sunday. We thank Allah for her. She's eternally thankful to us at the Nat Turner family for entertaining her during the interview, and it was a great interview. But I want to share with you what she shared with us. Please, if you haven't done it already, my wife said she did it as Dr. Ava was talking. Go to www.projectseparation.com. That's projectseparation.com. And go to the section that says petition and sign up to let the world know that you want to have a separate state or territory for yourself wherein you can be free. This is not hate, this is survival. The enemy has shown us more than ever before that it is time for us to do for self, and we're going to see how many people are actually with us. And so this is the time to do it. So brothers and sisters, that is what I would like you to do. You can find all of this information as well on bromichaelmuhammad.com. Go to the PC version. We still are working on the mobile app version of this, but go to the PC version. Just go type in BROMICHAELMUHAMMAD, and you're going to find the different sections where you can click on, and you'll see a lot of different businesses, including our guest business listed under the business link, AYSAVP.com. You're listening to the Nat Turner Library Radio Show. This is today's date, May 21st, 2020. Yes.
It is time for the news with Sister Tangela.
Oh, wow. Time goes fast. It sure is time for the news with Sister Tangela. Sister Tangela, are you there?
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, alaikum salam, ma'am. How are you feeling, sister?
I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
Well, by Allah's permission, welcome to the latest episode of the Nat Turner Library Radio Show, COVID-19 War Zone edition.
Sure. You're funny.
All right. Well, I see our guest is waiting there patiently, so let's go right to what you got for us, Sister Tangela.
Okay. All right. Good evening, family. The first article is a statement from the National Black United Front.net, Thursday, May 14th, 2020. Statement regarding Chairman Emeritus Dr. Conrad Worrell and the coronavirus.
Yeah.
The members of the National Black United Front, NBUF, have been notified that our beloved national chairperson, Emeritus Dr. Conrad Worrell of Chicago, Illinois, has tested positive for the coronavirus. The positive test result came during treatment for other serious health challenges. Dr. Worrell has been a stalwart in the African liberation movement for over 5 decades. We call on all movement formations to send prayer and positive energy toward him and his family. We call on the African spiritualist community to do special work on his behalf and all those battling this virus. He stated that he intends to fight this with everything I have. Updates will be provided as information becomes available. Forever, backwards, never. Kofi Tahaka. That's a chairperson, National Black. Go ahead.
United Front.
United Front, yeah.
You know, for those who are not familiar with Dr. Conrad Worrell, Emeritus Chairman for the National Black United Front, a very good organization that has been around side by side with us in the Nation of Islam since I can remember coming into the Nation of Islam. If you remember the World Friendship Tour that the Honorable Ms. Ruth Farrakhan went on in the 90s, Dr. Conrad Worrell was with him, I believe, afterward when he went to, particularly with Cuba. I remember seeing a photo of him standing right next to the minister while he was greeting Comandante Fidel Castro. And Dr. Conrad Worrell is a warrior for the black man and woman. So the current chairman is Brother Kofi Taharka, who released this message saying that he has tested positive for coronavirus. We've made it well established that on this show, brothers and sisters, that we believe, this coronavirus is a bioweapon, potentially targeting specific ethno groups, that being the black man and woman in North America and others. Although some of them have got it, we know we may have a different version of it. So we can just continue to keep Dr. Conrad Worrell in our prayers.
Yes. We
need as many people like him to be amongst us. Thank you for sharing that statement, Sister Tanzo. You have anything else to add to that, Sister Tanzo?
That was the only thing on the statement.
Oh, okay. Thank you for bringing that up. That was an official statement from the National Black United Front.
Mm-hmm. The next article is from NBCNews.com. Sailors on sideline USS Theodore Roosevelt get fired for second time. 5 sailors on a U.S. aircraft carrier sideline in Guam due to a COVID-19 outbreak have tested positive for the virus for the second time and have been taken off the ship, according to the Navy. The resurgence of the virus in 5 sailors on the U.S. Theodore Roosevelt underscores the befalling behavior of how highly contagious the virus is and raises questions about how troops that test positive can be reintegrated into the military, particularly on ships. All 5 sailors had previously tested positive and had gone through at least 2 weeks of isolation. As a part of the process, they had all tested negative twice in a row, with the test separated by at least a day or 2 before they were allowed to go back to the ship. Right. Now, the sailors have been tested using a nasal swab, and in some cases, the infection can be at such a low level that it's not detected by the test. It's not clear whether or not the cases like these are actual relapses or if people are testing negative without really being completely clear of the virus.
What's your comment on that, Sister Sandra?
You know, and there's so many people who are testing positive after, quote-unquote, being in isolation for 2 weeks. So apparently the virus is lasting much longer than they anticipated. So this virus is constantly changing. So you really can't get a heads up on what it's doing because each person is different, and everybody come in contact with it, have a different result from it. Some people get it, test positive, and then 2 later they test negative. So the question remains, are the tests being actually measured properly? Are they tested properly or not? That's the question.
Right. I gotta say this. When I was tested, brothers and sisters, just for kicks and giggles, I went and got tested just to make sure that I, at the time, didn't have anything, because I had some symptoms a couple months ago. And the test came back negative. Praise be to Allah that I did not have this COVID-19. But we know that a lot of our people, as you were saying, Sister Angela, are coming back. And go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I said, you're right. A lot of people coming back with these results, and the question remains whether or not do they have it, do they not have it?
Right.
Are those test results accurate? Are they not accurate? So it's hard to even trust the test once you take it.
The truth of the matter, brothers and sisters, is, as we were saying when we had Dr. Aleem Muhammad from the Abundant Life Health Attainment Center on back in February, way before it kicked off like this, I had invited Dr. Aleem to discuss this. He said to us what the belief of this is, that this is a bioweapon. Bioweapons work like this. They have a target, they have an effect.
Yeah.
So no matter what the white man says, he wants to open up the country. Brothers and sisters, protect yourself. if the sailors of the Navy for this army, for this man's army, is getting sick, and the staff members of the president's staff are getting sick, then what makes you and I think we somehow immune to this?
To it, right.
Right. So thank you for pointing that out. And by the way, if I remember right, that particular ship was one of the largest ships in the United States Navy, if I remember right. Yes, ma'am. So thank you for that article.
Okay, you're welcome. The next article is from CNN.com. COVID-19 lockdowns could drop the carbon emissions to their lowest level since World War II, but the change may be temporary. As predicted, carbon dioxide emissions have declined during the COVID-19 pandemic, but if past crises are any indication, the environmental gains may be short-lived. An international study of global carbon emissions found that daily emissions declined 17% between January and early April compared to the average levels in 2019, and could decline anywhere between 4.4% to 8% by the year's end. That figure will mark the largest annual decrease in carbon emissions since World War II. However, it's not clear how long or severe the pandemic will be, which makes it kind of difficult to predict how emissions will be affected long term. And because the changes driving reduced emissions haven't fundamentally changed the economy or the energy much of the world relies on, the declines are likely to be temporary.
Okay, what's your comment on that?
And honestly, that makes sense. People are driving less, so you're going to have people are out less, so you're going to have less carbon emissions into the atmosphere, which makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, but that goes hand in hand with the COVID-19 pandemic.
You know, for the time that I've been able to be outdoors, particularly on these nature walk trails, I've noticed that the air, up until last week when they started open, it was much fresher. You know, now it's getting back to the normal Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, it was now the smog is getting back. But for about 2 months, we had some fresh air. Even the birds were acting all right. You know.
I know.
The animals were enjoying the fresh air, and all of a sudden here it comes back to the Atlanta smog. You know, so it just proves that Allah is in control. We had former presidential candidate Al Gore has 2 excellent documentaries called The Inconvenient Truth, parts 1 and 2. If you hadn't seen part 2, brothers and sisters, please go. I don't know if it's on Netflix or whatever. Well, we don't like Netflix around here, but wherever you can get it.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, go to Amazon Prime, But we don't like Netflix around here. I got beef with them as long as they until they do right by the minister. I got beef with Netflix.
Yeah.
And so I canceled my subscription immediately, and I hadn't renewed it since. And I don't suggest you do either. But get Inconvenient Truth Part 2. Al Gore is continuing to do the analysis on the Earth's heating up. So Allah knows what to do in order to stop this. So if the white man don't want to stop carbon emissions by having alternative fuels because he want money, well, Allah will shut that down too. And this is where COVID-19 comes in, and whoever knows what else Allah has planned.
Right.
So my final suggestion to the enemy is do the right thing. Otherwise, Allah, like any good father, is going to whoop you real bad. You know.
Good luck with that.
I used to get them kind of whoopings. You know, mama whoopings is one thing, but when daddy whoop you, whoo, Lord have mercy. You know. So this is what we in right now. What you got, sister?
All right. The next article is from NewYorkPost.com. The sun has entered a lockdown period, but scientists dismiss apocalyptic theories. Our sun has gone into lockdown with reduced solar activity as a part of an 11-year cycle. The sun is currently in a period of solar minimum, meaning activity on its surface has fallen. Experts believe we are about to enter a deep sunshine recession with very low sunspots recorded. According to astronomer Dr. Tony Phillips, the solar minimum is underway, and it's a deep one. Sunspot count suggests that it's one of the deepest in the past century. The sun's magnetic field has become weak, allowing extra cosmic rays into the solar system. Excess cosmic rays pose a health hazard to astronauts and polar air travel and affects the electrochemistry of the Earth's upper atmosphere and may help trigger lightning. Despite the false fears that could play havoc on our weather system, scientists say we won't see any brutal cold or crop loss or famine or any kind of volcanic eruptions linked to this particular solar minion.
Yeah, right. What you got to say
I
about
know,
that?
that's why I said too. Yeah, right. We shall see.
Yeah, we.
I'm sorry.
Like they know a lot.
Right. Not having enough sunlight makes a difference. So it affects everything. So them saying that it's not going to affect anything, they don't know. They don't know.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, they can only
unfortunately,
guesstimate.
I agree with Dr. Ridgely Mukmeen when he said that this type of knowledge that they're trying to tell us is trying to overshadow what Allah's plan is. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been telling us, especially nowadays through his servant and our teacher and guide, the Honorable Mr. Ruth Farrakhan, to watch that weather. The most famous saying he has said over the last decade is watch the weather. Because throughout human history, Allah uses everything in nature to show what His Spirit is. And right now, He's an angry God. And so they're trying to say, well, this ain't an angry God, this is just a cycle. Well, guess what? You plan and Allah plans, and Allah is indeed the best of planners.
The best of planners.
And so what we know what is causing wind, rain, hailstorms, and earthquakes. Son of man, we know Allah is in control of this. So, yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. What else
You're welcome. The last article is from thefinalcall.com. The secret relationship between blacks and Mexicans by Diogenes Muhammad. This article is written in May 28, 2014. Colonial Mexico had the highest number of African slaves of the over 1 million casualties during the Mexican War of Independence. Most of them was Afro-Mexicans. Mexico's commitment to harbor black fugitive slaves triggered the Mexican-American War. She lost nearly 50% of her territory. After the war, Mexico, undeterred, included in her constitution and continued her commitment to harbor slaves. Now, the period of African slavery in Mexico began following devastation brought about by the inherent diseases of the Europeans, which infected almost completely wiped out indigenous Mexicans, having no natural immunity against smallpox, measles, typhoid, any kind of venereal diseases and other infections and all these. Natives were victims of ferocious epidemics in 1520, 1548, 1576 to 1579, and 1595-96. It is estimated that when Hernan Cortez arrived in Mexico in 1519, the indigenous population was about 27.6 million inhabitants. By 1605, only 1.7 million indigenous people had survived.
Wow.
Exactly. About 15,000 Spaniards, 80,000 Indians. And in 1608, in his visit, and it said, he goes on, this article goes on to talk about how the African population had a 3 male to 1 male ratio. And since children born from indigenous mothers carried their free status, African men married native women to ensure that their descendants will be born free. According to the Mexican caste system imposed by Spain, the indigenous populations were considered citizens and could not be made slaves. But at the bottom of the caste system were the black slaves. So escaped slaves resorted to establishing settlements up in the inaccessible mountains to preserve their freedom. So one particular group called, one particular case in which for about 30 years, the Maroons lived in a mountain called Ayula, in which they were actually living from people from Guinea. And that was the first enclave that was established in Mexico by free Negroes, you'd say. It was called San Lorenzo de los Negros. No, I can't say that.
San Lorenzo de los Negros. Well, you know, in Spanish, negros means black.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds funny to us because, you know, we're like, San Lorenzo are the Negroes, you know. And we know we make fun of the term Negro, but in Latin, you know, negros means black. So, yes, man. Did you have any comments on that article?
That wasn't,
I'm sorry,
I wasn't finished.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The article goes on to say, where is the Afro-Mexican? Hundreds of thousands died in the War of Independence, fertilizing Mexico's soil. The rest had been absorbed into the genetic pool of the Mexican population. So by 1827, hardly any Negro slaves were left in Mexico. The whole slavery issue would have been history were it not for the fact that Texas, in the northern part of Mexico, was being encroached upon by trade-holding Anglos who brought slaves with them to settle on occupied areas of Texas. Now, this Brother Muhammad goes on to talk about the Mexican wars and how the slaves participated in the wars, and goes on to discuss all that. And then he ends the article by saying that continuing that tradition, the new millennium shall witness the unity and oneness of blacks and Mexicans in order to straighten our common goal toward freedom, justice, and equality under the Creator of the heavens and the earth, our true and common origin.
Well, that's beautiful. What's your comment on that beautiful article, brother?
This is actually a beautiful article. It's a lot of pages. I was trying to pull out highlight some things from it, but it doesn't go. If you can go onto the web to the Facebook and pull up the article, it's a wonderful article, and you can read over it. And he goes into wonderful detail about slavery in Mexico and how our people became absorbed into the Mexican population.
And pretty much, I remember Hugo Chavez, may Allah be pleased with him, the former president of Venezuela, said that in his heritage, as well as Comandante Fidel Castro, may Allah be pleased with him, both said that in their heritage is the African. They have that in their blood.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah.
And we have to understand as people who are descendants of slaves here in North America, the black man and woman of North America, that our native family is connected at the hip with us and in our genes.
That's correct. And sure are.
Brother Jay Winter Nightwolf, who was one of the elders of our native families here, once said and came to Mas Mariam a few years ago, and he actually brought out a great point. He had all the people stand up in Mas Mariam who had native blood in them, and pretty much everybody.
Everybody stand up, stood up.
I remember when I was younger, Sister Tangela, and I don't want to, belabor this, but brothers and sisters, this is an important point that Sister Tangela is reading in this article. By the way, these articles that she's reading from the Final Call and a few others related to our guest tonight are on the Nat Turner Library page. All you got to do is type in Nat Turner Library on Facebook, brothers and sisters, and what you're going to find are the articles that Sister Tangela just read, as well as 3 related to Sister Ruth, and Brother Felix and others who are in Guadalajara, and the great story of Brother Stanley and Sister Ruth are there. We are connected to our Mexican and native family by blood and by common history. There is history lessons, Sister Tangela say, that over 70% of the native people were killed in Western America, if you would, the western half of the world, by just interacting with the Caucasians, just with disease. This is in my book, Checkmate the War for the Black Mind. The white man brought death, both disease death and physical death with arms, and their sick mind everywhere they went. They are the pale horse that is to be wary of. And so, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into that more. Thank you, Sister Tangela, for those articles. Do you have any comments for the audience before we leave?
No, sir. Looking forward to the show.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you, Sister Tangela. May Allah continue to bless you with this great news. And sorry we took longer, brothers and sisters, than normal, but this was some great information. And so as we go into the next article, next segment, we're going to take just a couple minutes for a break. But coming up, Brother Stanley, Sister Ruth, and others to make a great witness of this Ministry of Love mission in Mexico. Sister Tangela just read some great information. All of this is in Final Call. So we, the Nation of Islam, are connected with our brothers and sisters in Mexico and the Native family. Deeper than you think. Sister Tangela just proved it's in the blood as well. You are what you see. That's why a lot of us like Mexican food, whether we know it or not, without the hog, of course. Coming up after this, the interview, part 3 of this series, Brother Stanley, Sister Ruth. You listen to Nat Turner Library Radio Show.
Stay tuned for Nat Turner. Stay tuned for Nat Turner Library Radio.
Attention please. Attention please. Final Call Radio is now live. I repeat, Final Call Radio is now live. Final Call Radio is a 24-hour streaming service featuring the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Hear messages from the minister 24 hours a day. Hear news reports and updates from around the country. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Take us everywhere. Log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button. Final Call Radio, Final Call News, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
This is your sister, Angel Muhammad, offering to the public a quality cotton protective washable face mask. It comes in various colors and sizes to fit your style. For more information, please contact me at 937-624-9764 or visit my Instagram page at I Am Learning at Home. This is your sister, Angel Muhammad, offering to the public a quality cotton protective washable face mask. It comes in various colors and sizes to fit your style. For more information, please contact me at 937-624-9764 or visit my Instagram page at I Am Learning at Home.
Nat Turner Library Radio.
Bellevue Spa wants to help you with your healthy journey. You can call us at 678-769-5772, or you can check out the Healthy Quest tab on BellevueSpa.com. With the coronavirus running rapid through the countries, we ship nationwide, offering immune-boosting products such as elderberry syrup, sea moss gel and supplements, and don't forget your date syrup. Can all be purchased at BellevueSpa.com, or you can call us at 678-769-5772 to place your order. Sea moss is a great anti-inflammatory. It has anti-cancer properties, 92 of the 103 minerals the body needs to boost your immune, and it aids in weight loss. We call it a superfood. Elderberry is great for cold, cough, builds the immune system. It eases sinus pain, back and leg pain, nerve pain, and chronic fatigue syndrome. Elderberry helps with constipation, hay fever, and allergies. Call Bellevue Spa at 678-769-5772 to place an order, or check out our website at BellevueSpa.com, BelleJuspa.com, and check out the Healthy Quest tab.
FinalCall.com. FinalCall.com. One word, FinalCall.com. The award-winning website for the realest and most accurate black news available on the planet. FinalCall.com. Fair, Reasonable, accurate, and inclusive. We are a unifying website. FinalCall.com. Go there today.
Stay tuned for Nat Turner Library Radio.
Attracted some of the most brilliant, award-winning musicians and artists.
Shooting, no dying, no lying, no gang banging, so no more mamas crying. Chilling with the president, he let me in the White House. Back to the castle with the minister.
Support this project from the Honorable Minister Ruth Farrakhan by going to letschangetheworldmusic.com. That's letschangetheworldmusic.com. You may also simply type in lctwmusic.com. That's lctwmusic.com. Support your own, support yourself.
Nat Turner Library Radio.
All right, brothers and sisters, we are back. May 21st, 2020. The subject tonight, the Ministry of Love Mission in Mexico. We thank Brother Stanley, Sister Ruth, and all of the audience. The switchboard is lit up for this great subject, part 3 of our interview with this great heroic story. I hope one day that this particular story is made into an action-adventure spiritual movie. For any of those movie producers out there, if you're up and coming, I'm advising you to please get in contact with Brother Stanley and Sister Ruth. This story will be a blockbuster. I'm sure the Jew wouldn't like it, but we would love it. This is a story about today, the reception, if you would, by Brother Stanley and Sister Ruth and those who are part of his staff and the minister's staff, if you would, down in Mexico, and how the brothers and sisters down in Mexico received this great love teaching. And so without further delay, we're going to get Brother Stanley on. Brother Stanley, are you there, sir?
I'm right here, my brother. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Michael, and Sister Tangela.
Well, alaikum salam, sir, and Ramadan Mubarak to you, Brother Stanley.
Ramadan Kareem. Yes. I want to thank you. I want to thank you once again. Allahu Akbar.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful, brother. I want to thank you once again, Brother Michael, for your brotherly and loving invitation. And I want, as a prelude, before we go into the dialogue, my wife say a few words, then I'll say a few words, and then we have a few on the line that experience this wonderful ministry of love in Mexico and how they witnessed how this trial was turned into a triumph. As Allah says in the Holy Quran, and the Jews plan, and Allah plan. And indeed, Allah is the best of planners. So, with your permission, I would like my wife to start off. She's right here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, alaikum salam, Sister Ruth. Welcome to the Nat Turner Library. We give you the round of applause for you. Welcome again, Sister Ruth. Thank you. How is your Ramadan so far, Sister Ruth?
Oh, brother, by Allah's grace, I'm on top of the world. I thank Allah for his blessings and mercy that he has bestowed on the true believers. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this great nation. And, I mean, Ramadan is just it's a beautiful, holy month. It's a month that, it brings us closer to Allah because, it's sad that, we need special days and special months for us to get it right, But I'm grateful. But I'm grateful to Allah for it, so I'm definitely enjoying it. I mean, and even with the, the virus and us being on, lockdown, it's even making it, even greater, because we're getting closer to the God. We're praying more, we're being with our families. We're helping and nurturing our children, those that are married. We're growing in our relationships with our spouses. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. So I'm definitely blessed, and I'm enjoying it. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, brother, I want to start off in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I thank you and our sister for, what you open up this conference with, because, it's something that I learned, going to Mexico. And I'm so grateful to Allah for the Nation of Islam, for the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is the one that put me on the road to know my true history. Because I'm telling you, if I was not in the nation, I would not know what I know today. I would be so far from the knowledge of myself, the knowledge of my people, and I look at my people and I see, how they are so dumb, deaf, and blind to who they are, to who their open enemy is, and the history of what has happened to our people. And when I was in Mexico, by Allah's grace, I went and I traveled with my son and my grandchildren to where Brother Raphael and his wife, Sister Larisha, and their family live in Guanajuato. And when I traveled there in Guanajuato, I was so interested in knowing about this place where, they call them mummies, but they're not mummies. And it's a city in Guanajuato where the people literally, these people died, and their body never deteriorated. Their body looks like it was embalmed, but it's not embalmed because we know the process of being a body being embalmed. But Allah preserved these bodies, and these bodies you can go see them. In Guanajuato, they have a museum. And the scientists are studying why these bodies are preserved the way they are preserved. If some of the bodies have their hair, their actual hair that they had, teeth, they have flesh on their bones. And majority, it was so interesting to me to find out why Allah, because I always try to see things in it's Allah's will, is a purpose to it, because in the Nation of Islam, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that there is no such thing as a coincidence. So I know that nothing happens by accident. Nothing happens, because of a coincidence. We don't believe in that. And me knowing that caused me to be interested in these people. And in my mind, I said, what is the purpose of Allah allowing these people to be preserved? What is it that Allah wants us to learn from these people, that they were preserved, their body was preserved? I mean, their facial expressions are preserved. So I look at their faces, and all of their faces look like they're being tortured. Their mouth, you know how when you're going through pain, your mouth is open, like, in aggravating pain. And this is how their faces look, like they are going through something. When you asleep, your mouth is closed, and you're resting. Well, these faces don't look like this. These faces look like there's pain inflicted. There is something that these bodies experience, and we have to find out what they experience, because what has happened in the past, it will also come back in the future. And the Most High Elijah Muhammad said we have to go back and study the past so we'll know what the future holds. And so when I look at their faces, I said something happened to these people. You know, they try to come up with, the enemy's always coming up with lies and technology, making us think that this mineral, that mineral, because they do have mines there. And one thing about that place, they have a museum, brother, where the Europeans, the Spaniards came and they torture our people. And this museum shows you all the equipment that these wicked demons use on the indigenous people. They have a record, a book with everyone that they torture. They write their names and, they fill out their information. And in that book, it's so powerful, because in that book, they talked about the black woman. And when I went to that museum, and I have it on video recording, when I went to that museum, the brother that was giving us the tour, he said, when they found out you were Muslim, you hear what I'm saying? This is what the tourist, the guy is telling us, the tourists. He said when they found out it was a Muslim, he said they will kill him on the spot. Do you hear what I'm saying? They didn't even allow the Muslims to live, because they knew that Muslims were fearless. They knew that they would not bow to nothing or no one but Allah. And so only way that they can keep the, Muslims, Islam dead, it would be that once they find out they're Muslims, they will kill them. But the ones, the indigenous people that they wanted to make Catholics, they would torture them. The equipment that they have is so horrific. One equipment that really, oh my God, it was so wicked. They had this, it's like a handle on it, and you turn it and you twist it, and it has like a cord type of thing, like a screw type of thing, and what they did, they would get the intestine, a part of the intestine, and they would tie it to that, and they will roll it until they take the whole intestines out of that person. And it was horrific, brother. The equipment that they use is only a demonic mind could use, such equipment. And then they said that the ones that would sit there and watch these people being tortured, the indigenous people, would be rich. They would have to pay a lot of money if they wanted, front row seat. It would be like the Catholics, those like the Queen.
Yes, ma'am.
People that were into that Catholicism, because they wanted to make all the indigenous people Catholics. And so it would be those so-called holy people that had money, that would pay a lot of money to see our indigenous people be tortured and, and suffer until they say, yes, I want to be a Catholic. And some died, some after being tortured, submitted to that religion. And so now we see Mexico has been conquered by the religion because of fear that was put in the people at that time, and so that's something that I never knew until I got there, and I saw it for myself. There was nobody, told me. It wasn't, in Islam, they teaching me hate teachings, as some of us want to say it. No, I went there to that country. And that country was the one that gave me that true history of what happened to my ancestors. So ain't no hate teaching. It is the truth. And we have to open our eyes to the reality of what has happened to our people. We got to stop talking that nonsense hate teaching. Ain't no hate teaching. That's our history, you know. So I learned that, and something in me, brother, before all this happened, I told my husband, I said, I want us to go and start a mosque in Mexico. This is at Savior's Day before, you know, I went to Mexico. And I said, we need to go to Mexico and start a mosque. You know, that was my spirit. And I was telling the brothers and sisters in the nation that are from, you know, Mexico about that. You know, my love for my people is so great that I wanted them to have what I have. I want them to see Allah how I see. I want them to be given that opportunity like I was given to know who the true and living God is, who know who is the man of God in our midst. And so that desire was in me, and I didn't know that, you know, Allah was going to answer my prayer. You know, real quick, yes. You know, but
yes, ma'am.
By Allah's grace, brother, I let my husband, you know, start off on that point because he became a part of, you know, me putting the words out there, you know, wanting us to start a mosque in Mexico. And then Allah says, okay, well, we're going to see how bad you want it.
well, if I may, Sister Ruth, I want to comment. While you were describing this museum, I was doing what I do. I do research. The Guanajuato Museum in Mexico. There's an article written by the Daily Mail UK. The UK news people sometimes don't mind sharing this kind of stuff, and they have an excellent article that I just posted on the Nat Turner Library page on Facebook. It shows the actual photos of the horrific, tortured, preserved bodies that you described. It's called the Guanajuato Mummy Museum. It has the children, it has their expressions, and it gives a description, just as you stated, of the Spanish conquistadors or the conquerors or the demons that did this to the people there as well. So thank you for sharing that, because I was unaware of this history myself, but I did post an excellent article with photos about this while you were describing it to the Nat Turner Library page.
Praise belongs to Allah. Look at that. All we got to do is just research, and it's so much, brother, that's out there. You know, like I heard the minister says that, you know, when our people are murdered in the street, you know, the injustice, you know, that is done to our people, and someone might not see it, but the land sees it. The land, you hear what I'm saying? They preserve bodies for reasons. So all we got to do is just look into it deeper, and Allah will give us the answer. Praise belongs to Allah. Thank you for that.
You are welcome. I just have one more comment. There's a brief history that a lot of people don't know, that you and I may know, about why the Spanish particularly was so adamant against the Muslim. If you remember that history, the black Moor, Muslim Moor, conquered Spain. And for who knows how long, they were in control of Spain. The black Moor, Muslim Moor, was in control, I think, at least of the southern half of Spain for a long, long time. And till this day, from what I was told, if you go to Spain, they still have the mosque there. They took away the ability of the Spanish people of eating hog. This is why anywhere the Spanish went afterward, they brought the hogs with them and forced the people. And so all you had to do was mention the word Islam to a Spaniard, and they wanted to kill because they still had animosity toward the black Moor Muslim, the Moors that conquered them. That's just a little historical tidbit of information. A lot of people don't know that, only because it's not really taught in the history book. You know, so the Spanish took pigs everywhere they went, whether it was Hawaii, whether it was South America. They wanted to force the planet to eat the thing that the Muslims told them not to eat for so long while they conquered Spain. They literally did that on purpose. They wanted the world to eat hog. So to this day, all through Mexico, Puerto Rico, and South America, hog is all over the place, and in Hawaii and the Philippines, because of the Spanish forcing them to eat hog because they wanted to get back at the Muslims that took over Spain. And that's the history in a nutshell. Yes, ma'am. So I decided to give that little history lesson there.
Praise Allah. Thank you for reminding me, brother, because I definitely slipped my mind.
Oh, that's quite all right. Praise be to Allah.
Well, yes, Brother Michael, that was beautiful that my wife showed the parallel of the suffering of the indigenous people in Mexico with our people in America. Because the same way they tortured us, they tortured them. And I want to say that my wife, Savior's Day 2019, she was so inspired because every year the Latino brothers and sisters get together and it just kindled inspirational thought and statement to me. I would love to go to Mexico to start a study group. Now, this is a few months before our trial. Yes. And the minister, as you shared, the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan, told me, brother, I want you to go like Brother Minister Rasul in the ministry of love. Now, love is universal. Love is not national. And when you talk about love, you talk about freedom, justice, and equality, and doing the will of God. That's the flag of Islam. Freedom, justice, and equality. It's a universal flag, so therefore love is universal. So therefore it is a man, if a man loves like that, on that universal platform of freedom, justice, and equality, and doing the will of God, that means he's ready to be sent out into the world and preach the gospel of Christ in a universal way. And so prior to us going to Mexico, the minister shared those words with me in terms of instruction. And so here we are, Savior's Day, May. We think we're going to get a visa, but that's when the trial began, the major trial. We thought we were going to leave our daughter, Kira, who really is in dire need of her mother on a regular basis. We said, well, her sister can take care of her for a few days until we return. Well, it didn't go that way. So the whole family had to restructure their whole life to be able to fight this insidious force that really was the same force that's fighting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the same force that fought the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and all the prophets of God and our people, because it was rooted in injustice. Mm-hmm. So here we are in Mexico, not able to return. My wife, of course, I'm not, because she's not, because we're one. So in my mind, I'm thinking, that it's we have a lawyer, so the lawyer's going to correct it in a few days. And so let's just enjoy ourselves while we're here. Well, that didn't happen. We discovered our lawyer was working against us. Our lawyer deliberately had, the appeal sent late after repeatedly assuring us it would be sent on time, which if we did not have a law with us, we would definitely be done, because after the appeal, the only thing you could do is sue the U.S. government. So we're going through that trial there, and we're fighting and battling. They're putting roadblocks on top of roadblocks in front of us, and we're in Juarez, Mexico, which is supposed to be the most dangerous place on the planet. And we didn't have family there. We're in the hotel every day. So this trial was was like we was in a cocoon, like a caterpillar.
Yes, sir.
It was literally restructuring our mind and spirit. And we wasn't even aware of it until now that we look retrospectively and look back and see what Allah was doing. Because we know that there's no growth without pain.
Right.
So the pain that we was experiencing, what is Mexico, we didn't know it had a purpose because we were clouded by the emotions, Brother Michael.
Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
when we got to the point that we accepted Allah's will, when we realized that they're not letting us out of here, we went to the Customs Border Patrol 3 times. They rejected us all 3 times and sent us back because we was trying to get back based on humanitarian reasons, as I shared before.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I said, man, Allah sending us back. They ain't sending us back because I've seen it's like a stern, rejection. Like it's something He wanted us to do.
Come on.
So I had to return. I had my sons come and protect my wife when I'm gone. So I came, and you was at the banquet, the banquet at 15, the Hummus Mosma 15B, with all the believers at diverse groups. And I wasn't planning on making a statement about what we're going through because the believers thought we were still on vacation. But when my wife didn't come back with me, they knew that was strange. But I made the announcement there. And I shared with the believers what we were going through. And that's when the fight was on to bring my wife back home to reunite my family. But when my wife called me when I was in College Park and my son, I said, where are you? She said, well, we're in Guadalajara. I said, what? I didn't leave you in Guadalajara. I left you in Juarez. Well, I went to go visit my family. But when she made that move, it was Allah brought her or took her and my son to Guadalajara, Mustafa. And the family was so warm, so receptive for the Michael. They were like angels. And she felt at home, different from what we felt in Juarez. Juarez, we felt really alone. We felt it was like we're isolated. But when they went to Guadalajara, I saw the pictures. She reunited with her family that she hadn't seen in 40-something years. Wow. It was like a high spiritual family reunion. So when my son flew back and I got there to relieve him, then I met so many warm family members, and the spirit and the love was just, it was just unbelievable. So they gave us tours, and we started talking, and one day we just was talking about the teaching most on the Elijah Muhammad, how to live, and message the black man, and all the teachings with her family members. And one day I got the message that the minister was going to be speaking July 21st via webcast. We're in Mexico. I said, well, let's share the message with our people in Mexico.
Right.
And we rolled past a hotel called Hotel 1970. It was a Hilton Hotel, very beautiful hotel. I said, well, let's have it there. And so we went there, and we signed the contract. We got the meeting room, got all the AV equipment, ordered some food with our own money, and we got a transportation, a van. And I asked my cousin Mario, he was like my captain. Everything I asked him to do, brother, he did, Brother Michael, with no problem.
No problem.
Beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah, brother, I'm telling you, brother, talking about hear and obey, he is the epitome of hear and obeying. I said, well, he took us to this area where there's a whole bunch of brothers and sisters in Mexico, in Guadalajara. It's a big hospital. It's a free hospital with Mexican brothers and sisters come from all over the 32 states in Mexico to get medical care for their family. And they just sit there in the park and wait. Well, that's where we gathered our people to hear the minister's message, the July 21st message.
That's right.
And they joyfully and willingly jumped in the van. That's why I knew it was Allah's will. And we had Brother Raphael, who's on the line. Him and his family came, and he interpreted so beautifully. And it was just a wonderful reception, along with my wife's sister, younger sister lives there. She brought a crew of people from her neighborhood. So we had a packed room with first-timers. And when the minister came on and delivered the message, and Brother Raphael interpreted so beautifully, but not just interpreted, but he put the minister's spirit in it. And then I started seeing the people clapping and shouting. I mean, they was more moved than when you were at the mosque. You know, mosque, we do a few, sometimes we jump up, and every now and then we clap. But they was clapping. They was putting their black fist up. They was so fired up. To remind me of what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, he said, there are millions of people on this earth besides you. I can teach them in 6 hours, and they will believe more than you do in 6 years of my teaching you. Allah, God, will whip you into submission. That is what he will do. The heavens are full of stars that threaten day. So here we saw how all of them was accepted teaching. We had like 32 acceptances. I called back at our mosque and said, how many accepted there? It was a low number. They said, you got all them Mexican brothers and sisters to accept?
Come on.
How'd you do that? Well, the messenger of Allah's truth. He said, it would take us 6 years to learn. It will only take them 6 hours. And so it was so beautiful, and they asking questions about the messenger teachings afterwards. I said, this is the ministry of love. This is a ministry that is a ecumenical ministry, universal, because love is universal.
That's right.
That's right.
And when we had to have the spirit to be willing to receive them, so it made us forget, Brother Michael, about what we were going through. It made us forget about our trials, and Allah would sustain us every step of the way. And then we said, well, let's play another video of the minister. And that's when the minister spoke at a Spanish church, a Latino church, in Chicago, and Brother Abel interpreted. We played that with the same response. And then we had the Holy Day of Atonement, where our children came and they brought guests from the state, and they drove all the way from Atlanta to Mexico. And boy, I don't want to talk about. They ran their rent-a-car radiator blew out. they had to jump on the bus.
I was going to say that's a long trip.
Yeah, it was a long trip. They jumped on the bus, and they did not give up. They did not turn around. And so we had about 7 or 8 of them. They came from the States. So, and then Brother Raphael and Brother Bayan from Veracruz. He came from Veracruz, and he helped interpret a brother from America born in the Nation of Islam. So that was that's from my vantage point, how we turned the trial into a triumph, because we made up in our mind, Brother Michael, if this is the will of Allah, for us to start the ministry in Mexico, because the messenger had 5 places in Mexico where he taught the teaching. 5 places. Yes, and he has put his family in Mexico. And the minister did the same. In the last letter, the Master Father Muhammad wrote the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It was from Mexico. And so I've seen the beauty of our people in Mexico, that those 3 men that we divinely follow. Master Father Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan, I saw the beauty in them. The same beauty I see in my wife, I see it in them. Yes. You know, this internal beauty, so this love. So I want to close and let those on the line share their testimony, but I want to thank you once again for allowing me and my wife to say a few words as a prelude to those who can share their testimony and witnessing the ministry of love in Mexico and how we turn the trial into a triumph.
Well, thank you, Brother Stanley and Sister Ruth. I just want to take about 2 minutes to make a connection, because this is just what I like to do. there's something amazing about what you have both shared with us tonight. As I was doing my geographical study of where Guadalajara, Guanajuato, and Veracruz we had mentioned, these are all, I believe, what's called Mesoamerican Mexico, I believe, if it's correct, from my study of history. This is the area, Guadalajara, Mexico City, Oaxaca, where the old Mayan and Mayan empires, and there was another empire had lived. And let me explain why that's significant. It was those empires that had done the Olmec, I believe it was the Olmec statues, which were Africans that had done, they considered them to be the gods. And so the people were looking for the return of, whether they know it or not, the black god. So when you were talking about the reception, a lot of people haven't made that historical connection. But this, if you remember Sister Ruth, I'm sure you remember this, the Sister Tangela read an article that was written in there about the secret relationships between blacks and Mexicans, how in the 1500s, the reason why the native brothers and sisters in Mexico and others accepted the white man is because they confused them, the white man, with the gods that they were expecting to return. So the white man clearly wasn't it. They brought death instead. And so when Cortez, decided to conquer parts of Mexico, it was the rulers of the Mayan Empire who decided to boot them out. That's when the war started, and they ended up killing off everyone physically along with disease. But the Mexican people, or the native people there, were expecting the return of the black god. They didn't use those terms, but they knew the god was going to come eventually based on their prophecy. That's something that a lot of historians skip over. So that same area, now whether you know it or not, that same area where you were, Guadalajara, which is just northwest of Mexico City, is the area where the gods are supposed to return.
Wow.
Fact,
oh, my God, brother. Oh, my God. Where is you? Oh, my God. Are we up here fulfilling scriptures or what?
Be to Allah.
I just want to say, brother, that it's not a coincidence because I told my husband, I said, Stan, they got a face that looks like you. This face literally looks like my husband. The nose it's not too many people have a nose like my husband. Well, this face that is in Mexico is the face that I look at my husband every day and I see. And I told my husband, I said, they have a statue of you in Mexico, right? With the face, joking around, but at the same time, it looks just like him. And when you said that, right, when I brought my grandchildren there, my grandson, Bakir, he has, out of all my grandchildren, his hair is the most, kinky. His hair is the most, of the tribe of Shabbat. So, brother, everywhere we went, Allah is my witness, my children, and even Brother Raphael can testify with his wife and children. But everywhere we went, people would run just to touch my grandson. They would touch his head, and they'll run off. And, and it's so crazy because we didn't know what the heck they were doing. We just thought that, maybe they just like him or whatever. Everywhere we went, somebody had to touch him, put their hands on him.
Yes, ma'am.
And they wouldn't even ask permission. And then one day my grandson said, Grandma, why do they keep touching me? Why these people, keep touching me, And it was so, it was weird, but they did that. And I did mention that to my husband just by, how we're taught. But I never knew it like you're saying it. It was just something that just popped up in my head. I was thinking it, but I never knew, where I could get, that from, but that is beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I got one more for you before we get to the line. Guanajuato.
Should we stand up?
Guanajuato is just due east of Guadalajara. The psychology, this is what I study, of traumatized people is such that the trauma is written into the DNA. That's been proven scientifically. That's in my new book coming up.
Wow.
So whenever a people were suffering, they're looking for healing. And Guadalajara is just west of Guanajuato, so the descendants of Guanajuato's tragedy are still in the Guadalajara area, which is only about maybe 50, 60 miles, I would imagine, from Guadalajara, maybe 100 from what I'm looking on a map. And so those people are looking for someone to heal them.
Oh, my God.
So when you come with teaching, Brother Mr. Stanley, when you come with teaching that is a healing, that's why they received it so much. They're looking for the God. In fact, Mexico City, which is the next major city southeast of Guadalajara, is an area built on top of that first Mayan empire. That's where they find all the wheel activity at. That's where the minister was at when he went to the mountain over there of Quetzalcoatl. It's all in that area. That's the futuristic Jesus, their version of Jesus, if you would. Just that whole area where you are, they're waiting on the God to return. Wow. And here you are. So I'm just bearing witness to what you're experiencing. Of course, a historian would do more than I, but I just wanted to share that with you. Yes, ma'am. So forgive me for going on that little soapbox.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thanks a lot for that.
You are our historian.
Oh, praises due to Allah. I just watch a lot of nature TV.
Oh my God.
And you know in Islam what that name is, right, brother? A Muslim historian. Tabari.
Oh no, sir. Tabari.
Yeah. That's an Arabic name for a Muslim historian.
Praise be to Allah. Well, maybe I'll have that bestowed upon me one day. Well, we got about 30 minutes, so we want to get Brother Raphael and Sister Sophia. I don't see Sister Fatima available yet, so if you want to reach out to her, we can. Who would you like to be up first to bear witness? Would it Brother Raphael or Sister Sophia?
Yes, Brother Raphael, because it's not a coincidence, that's where they chose to live. And they can probably go. I mean, it's just all these dots. You just connected so many dots, brother.
Right, beautiful.
Because that's the place, that's the state that Brother Raphael and his family chose to live. I mean, you got to ask him, what did he think about that area? Wow.
So we shall. Brother Raphael, Assalamu alaikum, sir. Are you there, Brother Raphael? Okay, he may still be coming to the line, but I see Brother Raphael there. In the meantime, we'll see if he can get back with us. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Brother Raphael, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, rahmatullah wa barakatuh. How you feeling?
I am doing well. Yes, sir. Welcome, Brother Raphael. We sorry for the delay, but I wanted to give that little history. So welcome. What you have for us tonight, Brother Raphael?
Oh, praise be to Allah. Brother Michael, I'm going to be honest. I was waiting for my little background applause.
That's right.
Let me go ahead and give Allahu Akbar. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Nocturnal Library Radio Show. Yes, sir. There you go. Allahu Akbar.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah who appeared in the person of Master W. Father Muhammad. I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is that exalted Christ. And I further bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their Messiah in our midst today. So I greet you in the greeting words of peace. In paradise, we say in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Well, alaikum salam, sir.
Yes, sir, brother. This story is very emotional and very real to me and my family because we actually experienced it, and we experience it every day living here in Mexico. And just to attest to my sister Ruth, as far as the touching of the hair and people, they do it to us all the time, brother. One, and they don't ask permission. She's right about that. One time I was in the grocery store, my son was in the cart, and I'm looking for something, and I turn around. This lady has my son's face in her hands. And I kind of like, whoa, I start inching over that way, and she's yelling past me, like, come here, look, come here. So I turn around and see, and she's yelling to her husband, like, come here, look at his face, look at his skin, she said, look at his skin. Then she finally acknowledges me, because I get all the way up to her. She acknowledges me, and she says, mine came out white. And she pointed at her son. He had a little pale baby. And she said, I always wanted a black baby. But just to attest to that, we as a people, brother, are one and the same. I love that you do geography and you research and stuff like that. In our lessons, brother, it teaches us that, the original people, the tribe of Shabazz was exiled 50,000 years ago. Then it says 16,000 years ago, the so-called Indian was exiled. So when you think about time frame, so Shabazz is out in the wilderness or out in the jungles of Africa, 50,000 years. So 34,000 years, the so-called Indians are still amongst the original people before they get exiled. Does that make sense? So when you put it in perspective, you know that we are one and the same. And in our last part 2, we talked about the kidney donation as well. How a black man received a kidney from a so-called Latino man, and 5 years later, he's alive and well, fully functioning kidney. He was 85% kidney failure. And I would love for you to add that story as well. Was in the final call. I believe the LeVar Ball and his father were on the cover of that issue. But and to go back with Brother Stanley and myself, we Brother Stanley, being the brother that he is, beautiful brother, very, very beautiful brother, and passionate about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And, let's hit the streets, brother. We was in the copy machine, hotel room, making copies, paying for copies, stacks and stacks of papers to hand out. And we went out and engaged the people and having conversations, and everybody was very, very receptive. And when we hosted the Mexican people, so-called Mexican people, for the Holy Day of Atonement, oh, brother, the spirit in that room, it was wasn't no huge room, but the spirit just made it enormous. Like if we were in the if we were at an arena watching the minister. And another thing that I realized is as I'm up there translating, their eyes are not fixed on me. They were looking at the screen. They're beholding this man, his facial features and his movements and his words, even though they may not have understood them. They weren't looking at me, who I was speaking their language. They were looking at the screen and bearing witness to that man. And afterwards, that's, man, in the States, when we bring people in and afterwards they got fed and everything, and, they ask for money and well, I need help with this, I need help with that. But these people were literally asking about Minister Louis Farrakhan. Like, who is that man? Where does he live? Right. He's so bold, and we love his spirit. We love what he was saying, and how do we learn more? How do we learn more? And Brother Stanley had pulled them into a room, with myself included, and he gifted them some money, to each one without them asking. He just gifted them some money. And Brother Stanley, you share, if you can, when you come back on, the story you shared with us as to why you did that. It's very beautiful. It's in line with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But yes, sir, brother, the whole experience is amazing. Every day we learn more, and every day we find out how much alike we are as far as black and brown. There's no difference when you talk about the Olmecs and the Aztecs. There's no difference with the broad noses, and there's people here blacker than you, brother, blacker than you.
Sir.
But with their own facial features, but their skin is just black. And so we're all original people. And so being that we are original people, now here's where we tie it all together. Being that we are original people of the planet Earth, all 196,940,000 square miles of this planet, that message that Master Farrakhan Muhammad came and instilled in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is for all original people over the planet Earth.
Yes, sir.
So being that we are original, this message resonates with our heart, with our soul, with our spirit. You can't not. It's like Sister Ruth said when she went to her family in Guadalajara and they received her. And when we went, me and my children, I've never met these people a day in my life, Brother Michael, a day in my life. We go to their home, brother, and you will think that was my auntie, my tia, and my primos, and we're playing outside, and we're inside, and we're hugging, and sit down, and and tell me more, and it's just, the culture is so rich and beautiful, and as you hear the stories of the reception of black people, because they know who Michael Jordan is. They know, they know the superstars. They know who Beyonce is very well, but they just never seen them in person.
Now, Brother Raphael, I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to add on to what you're saying. I'm not a stranger to Mexico. For a corporate job that I was working 12 years ago, my wife and I went to Playa del Carmen. There was a trip that I had won being one of the top sales reps for this major corporation. We were there for a week. Whole week in Playa del Carmen, just north of Quintana Roo, on the Yucatan Peninsula. And I lie to you not, my wife would bear witness to you. When I was sitting on the beach, there was a whole bunch of white folks sitting next to me, but not one of the Mexican vendors went to them. They stopped in front of me. My wife would tell you, she was sitting right there. And I kept asking, I was like, why are they stopping in front of me and asking me questions and greeting me? And they literally stopped in front of me, asking in a friendly manner, of course. They were selling me products, it was sunglasses, there was a person selling stuff, and I had no need for anything because it was an all-inclusive trip. But it was amazing how warm they were with me, and they were very standoffish with the Caucasians that are sitting not too far from me. And in fact, when I was at one of their restaurants, they greeted me as though I were one of their own, and they treated me as though I were one of their own. And I said to my wife, I said, now this is how the original people treat the original people. I had more love in Mexico than I did walking in the hood, So I know what you mean. So I just wanted to bear with us. Yes, sir. Saying. Yes, sir.
Go ahead,
it's a tremendous blessing, brother. And my wife, I love my wife, and she's black. She's black. I always share this, and I know she doesn't mind. But she's the great niece of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. So she's like. She's black like him, black, shiny black, and so there's no mistaking, that she's not from here, and then we don't walk around, we don't have to walk around and tell people we're Muslims, they see her covered up, they see, and then we sell clothes and stuff, and we're always making star and crescents, and the crescent's got to be on this side and the star. And so now the people will do it for me. Like, no, he's not going to want that because the crescent's on the wrong side. It's got to face this way. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and you know, when we first got here, we opened a barbershop, and just having the people in the chair and talking to them about why Raphael X? What's the X for? Is that really your last name? And so, you know, you just start teaching from there. Well, you know, are you European or are you a Spaniard or are you an Indian? You know, well, I side with the Indians. Like, well, me too, but you know, our Indian name is not Gonzalez and Jimenez and Sanchez. You know, that's not our Indian names. Where do we get those names from? Well, the Spaniards came and okay, now we're getting somewhere. You know, and then we get to talking, and man, they walk away with that Islam, brother, and they hungry for more. And Sister Ruth and Brother Stanley and my wife and my children and their children as well, when they came up, it was such a beautiful thing to see Muslims in the Nation of Islam, garments and everything, covered up and everything, suits and everything, bow ties in Mexico, brother, hosting an event. So I thank Allah and the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad for inspiring our brother to do that. And I thank Allah and the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad for allowing me and my wife to be in a position to go and meet with them and experience with them, to do what we did. And I just thank Allah for everything, brother. I mean, you know, I'm super grateful for you as well, brother Michael, for this radio talk show that you do, and the library. I mean, it's an amazing thing. It's our time, brother. It's our time. He didn't come to make us followers. He came to make us gods. And it's our time to stand up and teach this message universally, brother. We gotta get out of our minds, you know, just mas. No, there's people out there suffering, brother, and we gotta reach out. But I appreciate my time. I thank you. That's beautiful, and
thank you
for allowing me to speak. I thank you, Brother Stanley, for asking me to come on as well and share. Sister Ruth, my wife and I, Sister Larisha X, we're here for anything that you may need, questions, tours, if you want to come and visit, anything. Like we're more than open.
I have one question for you.
Yes, sir. Please.
But Raphael, I don't want to leave you. Time is ticking, but I want to ask you one question that's been on my mind since this subject came up 2 weeks ago, or 2 shows ago about this. Do we have, and this is a triple question, and I'll explain what that means in a second. Do we have Spanish language translations of both the Maulana Muhammad Ali Quran and the Holy Trinity of books that we have, the How to Live 1 and 2, Message to the Black Man, Our Savior Has Arrived, Fall of America, or as quadruple? Do we have that? Now, it's both rhetorical as well as literal.
Yes, sir. Good question.
Okay.
We do have the Holy Quran. I have in my possession the Holy Quran in Spanish. Yes, sir. The books of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in my experience, have been kind of put on hold to translate because due to technicalities, brother. We're kind of put on hold due to technicalities, and that's why I say we got to get out of that mentality because our people are dying. We can't sit around and wait for a technical thing to take place for us to go and reach our people. So, no, to answer your question, no, sir.
Okay, well, I can give a quick answer to that because there's going to be, if someone gives you a vision, Brother Stanley, Sister Ruth, Brother Raphael, it isn't someone else's vision. They're not going to, whoever it is not going to understand what Allah has for you to do. I'll say it again. If you've been given that vision or that assignment, that person is not going to understand it because it was not given to them, it was given to you. So therein lies an opportunity. Therein lies an opportunity. I'll say it one more time. Therein lies an opportunity. I believe the Nike commercial said it best, just do it, because the people are waiting for these great teachings. These people in central Mexico particularly, they're mathematic people. The Mayan Empire is a mathematically precise people. In fact, they were known along with the Egyptians and the Kemetic people, as being mathematically precise. That's why the pyramids are exactly the same in both areas. They're mathematic people. They need the math. So if you have the opportunity, please do so. And that's what we can talk off air and that another time. But I do have, Brother Raphael, a couple other people. We got 12 minutes to go, so let me get to them. Brother Raphael, inshallah, I'll get back to you soon, or we'll talk a little more.
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir.
You're welcome,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Walaikum salam, sir. Okay, Sister Ruth, Brother Stanley, who do you want next? We have both Sister Sophia and Sister Fatima, your daughters. Which one would you like next?
Sophia, I know she said she has to break fast, so she wanted to speak.
Okay, she's hungry. All right. Well, let's get to Sister Sophia. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sophia. Are you there, ma'am? Sister
I'm
Sophia,
here.
are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, ma'am, I can. Welcome to the episode. Yes, ma'am. Walaikum salam.
I appreciate you for inviting me on the call to speak. I just wanted to briefly, bear witness to what my parents were saying. During our trip, we drove from Atlanta, Georgia to Guadalajara, Mexico. So it was about, I forget the exact amount of time. Give me 1 second. How long did it take us to travel to Atlanta to Guadalajara?
It's about 36 hours, I would imagine.
36 hours? We said 36.
I'm just guessing. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, it took us a good amount of time, and we had like a few trials going to Guadalajara. Like my mother and father said, something was wrong with our coolant, so it was stopping us from proceeding to where my mother was. So when we got to Mexico, that's when it happened. So we had to go back to the United States to get another vehicle. And that took us about a good hour and 30 minutes. So we didn't really get done. Like, once we got to Mexico, we didn't really get finished until probably about 9 o'clock at night. And we got there probably around 3 p.m., maybe earlier than that. So when we got there, we tried to pass the gate. They turned us back 3 times. So we had to, eventually we had to take a bus. My father we were blessed enough to, our parents get us tickets on a bus to come to where they were. So, we had a rough time getting there, but, we still managed to, keep our faith and continue forward. So that was, that was a lot, He gave us his strength to just keep going.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I wanted to talk about also the Holy Day of Atonement. We brought 2 of our cousins, and, they're lost found. So they came. So when we got there, we had flyers, and we were passing out the flyers. So, our brothers and sisters in Mexico, inviting them out. It was a lot of people that was very accepting to, the flyers, and they were saying they wanted to come out. So we were, basically fishing out there, while enjoying our stay in Mexico, because that was my first time there. That was our first time. So it was a beautiful experience. That was just a brief synopsis of, my experience. And even, when the lecture we did, the meeting, it was a great acceptance. Everybody accepted. So it was just a great experience seeing, our brothers and sisters in Mexico being so accepting to, the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I was very happy to see that. I'm proud.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we thank you for your heroic driving. That's a harrowing experience, just driving from Atlanta to to Guadalajara. I'm looking at the map as you were talking. I don't know if I would have did that journey in the car. You know that that's a journey. Yes, sir. That's a journey. Yeah, that's going from pretty much from Atlanta to Los Angeles, if not longer. So yes, we thank you for your courage in doing so, Sister Sophia.
Thank
All
you,
right. You're welcome. Do you have anything to add before we get to your other sisters?
No, sir. Ramadan Mubarak.
And Ramadan Kareem, and thank you again, Sister Sophia, for your time with us. Let me give you some applause as well for your heroic activities and being a good daughter to some of the best parents that we've ever had. Thank you, Sister Sophia. May Allah continue to bless you. You're welcome, ma'am. All right, we want to go straight to Sister Fatima. Are you ready for us, Sister Ruth and Brother Stanley?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Sister Fatima, are you there? Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm just I'm honored again to be on the call with you all, and I'm so excited that you guys decided to do another part. This is part 3, and I'm excited because of the fact that I believe that this story of my parents and this journey really, I think, is monumental when it comes to being able to give the faith and the strength that, you know, people need in a time like this where a lot of people are struggling with their faith and their belief system. And I remember the minister saying at Savior's Day this year about how we are consistently wavering from doubt into belief. And those trials do that, and that's what causes the doubt, is what undermines our faith and causes hypocritical tendencies. And so it's a beautiful thing to see, you know, two believers who are able to face such an adversity and not unwaver in their faith and not, you know, experience any lapse in judgment in terms of, you know, whether or not what we believe is true. Instead, they found more conviction in what we believe to be true. And so I just thank Allah for that experience. And I was happy to hear that my sister shared, you know, because I think a lot of times we don't get to hear from, you know, my family members about their personal experience. So it was beautiful because, you know, all of us sacrificed a lot in whichever way that we could. You know, with me being all the way here in L.A., it was very difficult, you know, to be separated from my family while we were going through this. But we all contributed the best way that we could. And it was just such a huge stride of love that my sister and my cousins, you know, my brother-in-law, that they all made a huge stride of faith to drive, you know, 2 days across the country, you know, into another country to be able to, and it was more than 2 days. I mean, their journey was so long because there were so many setbacks and setback after setback. And it's not, it's very dangerous driving through Mexico. It ain't no, you know, easy feat. So, but when you have love in your heart, it helps you to overcome all fear. There's no fear involved when love is in the picture. You don't have any fear about danger. You don't think about that. All you think about is my love is so great. That's what fuels, you know, my ability to see past, you know, whatever obstacles, whatever danger. And I just see myself being there, and that's love. And to see my siblings do that, to witness that from LA, I was so proud, you know, to be able to do that. You know, my family on this side, you know, I went over there to, you know, make it to see my family in Mexico and be with them. And, you know, I took an airplane ride. You know, I didn't do that. I didn't drive, you know. So it was just beautiful to see that my siblings did what they could, you know, and it showed their love for my family. I mean, it's just crazy. All the things that we did, you guys will have no idea when we had to get passports. Because my dad told us, we had a whole family conference call. You guys don't understand. My father is the same way. on this phone call that he is at home. He does not change. He don't waver. I never seen this man chew bubble gum. Okay, so he is literally the same person. And so, we had a family conference call, and he's like, we're going to have Holy Day of Atonement, and we're going to do this, and we need the whole family to come. And we like, hold up, Dad, we got a situation, we got personal stuff. You should tell us that. He's like, yeah, we got to get passports, and each passport is $200 and some dollars. We need it for every baby. We got a lot of family members, but my father's faith is always so much bigger than a circumstance. So we look to him as, that visionary and to give us that strength. And so we got everybody in the family passports. And the beautiful thing about that, even though we were a little irritated with my dad about it, because we're like, oh my God, we just can't get up and go because, it's your vision. That's what you see. But that's what you think in a very futile state. And so it was beautiful because my father always helps us to grow beyond what we see in our circumstance. He's such a visionary in that way. And as a result of that, we were able to get all of the family members passports, which the minister told us over 10 years ago that he wanted us to do. And, so if it wasn't for my father and his vision and his faith being so huge, he really has been the huge pillar that has kept us together and kept us rooted, because even when we felt like it was too much or he was going too far or he was too extreme, just with our futile and our little small-mindedness, we were able to rely on him for that strength that we needed to stay, together. So I can never thank Allah enough for my father and his faith, because I think it's a little bit bigger than a mustard seed. I mean, he got huge faith. I thank Allah for him and having a father like that. So,
Sister Fatima, I don't mean to be rude, but we got 2 minutes and then the thing gonna shut down on us. So I'm gonna give you 30. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds because I want to close out with Sister Ruth and Brother Stanley. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds because it's gonna shut off.
Please close out with them. Please close out with them.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sister, and may Allah continue to bless you. Salam.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome, Sister. Thank you. All right, Brother Stanley and Sister Ruth, it's never, ever enough time in this system thing that we got here. But I got 1 minute and 45 seconds. I want y'all to close out however you will.
Yes, sir. And I want to thank you, brother, for this opportunity. And I'm telling you, my daughter she's on point. She's right and exact. My husband is definitely that. He is a man that, and I mean, I see, how he dealt with them devils at the embassy, the U.S. consulate. He showed them that they ain't God. You understand what I'm saying? That what my daughter is saying is right and exact. I mean, it's just, and that's what helps us to overcome the trials and everything that we go through is that, we have to have someone, and we see the minister, and sometimes, we see the minister so far off, like he can't be reached or he cannot be, we can't do what he is doing. But the minister is a sign that we all can do what he's doing if we have his faith, So I just want to say thank you, brother, and I'm going to let my husband share a few words.
All right, we got 30 seconds.
30 seconds. All right, I thank Allah for my whole family. I thank Allah for the ministry of love in Mexico and how Allah, through the true believers and the wonderful helpers of Honorable Minister Farrakhan, turned our trial into a triumph. Thank you, Brother Michael. We love you. May Allah continue to bless you. And the minister said, when you know God, you reflect him in your words and your deeds. In your life, you choose to live. And love and life are the same words. So when you love, you bring things that's dead to life, and that's what we strive to do in Mexico. Thank you. I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
salam. Brother Stanley and Sister Ruth, we're going to give you the closing applause. Brothers and sisters, this story is a story that I pray to Allah. If I had the power and the money, I would do it myself. Needs to be a movie. It's something we all need to learn from, and I hope and pray that Brother Stanley, Sister Ruth write a book with all 900-page book about this story. Brothers and sisters, coming up on Sunday, yes, I'm going to go there. We got a brother who's been on the show a few years ago, Brother Minister Dr. Ahmad Yahya Hakeem, Dr. Neil Jackson, talking about message to the black pastor in the time of war. Brothers and sisters, we'll talk to you soon. Assalamu alaikum.